Hello and welcome to the Real Life Podcast, episode number 41. Willie G is back on the pod. Yes, Will Gerrard is back for an in-depth discussion about what seems to be the big Hollywood trend, musical biopics. There's a lot to unpack here, including why the industry keeps coming back to them, the successful ones, the not so successful ones, and why the best musical biopics may not even be real. We also look ahead to all the musical biopics lined up and why it might not be the most exciting trend we've ever come across. From the good to the bad, there's a lot to talk about here. Plus, we stray into a tangent on one of the weirdest things Paul McCartney has ever done. So, sit back, relax, and get yourself a hot drink and enjoy Will Gerrard and I talking all things musical biopics. I think, as a kick-off, musical biopics, or biopics kind of in general, are what superhero movies were in the 2010s.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah, okay. So you know what I mean, right?
Yeah,
of course. Safe bet, they're kind of, you know the formula, you've got countless examples, you've got built-in audiences, nostalgia with it, recognisable IP,
exactly,
Oscar baity performances, all that sort of stuff.
Definitely.
But what I want to know is, are you more broadly a fan of them or less of a fan of them?
More recently, less of a fan.
Okay.
I think it appealed to me like when I was younger. You know, when you say when it was like 2010 superhero and it was kind of new-ish, and it was quite exciting to see, you know, like Rami Malek as Freddie Mercury, and then you kind of realize that that's not an accurate representation, or even like not just not a good biopic, but just not a good movie.
Yeah.
But, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how you...
We'll get on. I mean, we will get on to Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah,
don't
of course,
you worry about it. But yeah, so what I kind of wanted to do for most of this is bring the most recent examples that I think have not gone well, which you sort of feel roughly the same about, compare them to something which feels like a musical biopic but isn't.
Okay.
I kind of want to bring everything back to the most recent, A Star Is Born. With Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper, right? Because that gets a lot of praise and it's always on TV and people are always watching it. But I actually think it's brilliant, and I think it's better than most of the newer biopics.
Definitely,
right?
yes.
It's not a biopic, but it feels more emotionally real than a biopic.
Absolutely.
Lady Gaga is in it. But
she's
not playing Lady Gaga.
Of course, yeah. I think that is part of the fact, though, that it's they're not real people.
Exactly.
It allows them far more creative liberties to present these people how they want them to.
Yeah.
Or be a bit more authentic in how it's made. Because stuff you start to realise about, especially these like more recent biopics, is a lot of the executive producers, quote unquote, are, you know, family members or members of the estate of these artists. Which is like, obviously they want to make something that commemorates this person, but is it always that real?
Yeah.
You know?
So what's the first musical biopic you think you can remember watching, do you think?
The first one?
The first one.
Oh god, that's a really good question, actually. First one I remember seeing bits of, like pieces of a performance of, was Ray with Jamie Foxx. Yeah. Which I just thought it was like, regardless of what the full film is, I just thought it was him embodying that was remarkable. Yeah. And to get his voice, his performance, his whole actions to be so identical almost, that was something that struck me. That kind of set a gold standard for embodying the artist. But
I think that is exactly where I was going to start as well, because you're right, and that's kind of that's sort of the archetype of that Oscar-winning performance.
Yeah, exactly.
That kind of literally becoming that embodiment of someone else that we all know very well.
Yeah.
And Jamie Foxx sort of nailed that. But the whole film as well, it feels more like what I think a musical biopic kind of should be. Right. Which is a celebration of that person's work or that music. Okay. Less so a kind of, they started with nothing. Yeah. And then they became everything. You know, because we've seen that, we all know that. I mean, that's the story of every musical artist. Yes. There's a few that maybe will have started, you know, with their dad was, I don't know, bloody Simon and Garfunkel, both of them. And they turned into whoever. But like, I think people are going to see a musical biopic because they already like the work of whoever. Yeah, right. Definitely. There's that existing kind of audience thing. And with Ray, it's literally just like, here's the best that this man had to offer, and here's him doing it in a million times. I think you get the first sort of switch is the year later when you get Walk the Line with Joaquin Phoenix.
That's another one, yeah.
So I mean, those performances are grounding the film in more reality than spectacle. Definitely, I don't like... Do you know what? Let's just talk about Bohemian Rhapsody now.
Okay, fine.
Because I've got so many things that are wrong with it that I think sum up what we're about to talk about.
Okay, go on, just go straight to it.
So it's sanitised,
yeah.
It's inaccurate, it's committee written,
yeah.
The timeline jumps make no sense, the emotional beats are manufactured, Brian May, let's be honest, had a bit too much to do with making the film, as you mentioned with producers and stuff, and... It's a film that wants the firework of Freddie Mercury, not the soul of Freddie Mercury, right? I'm only going to spend a brief moment on this because it still irks me. It won Best Editing at the Oscars.
That's kind of insane. I forgot that. I just obviously remember it for Rami Malek's win, but
yeah. Well, Rami Malek is brilliant.
Oh, absolutely.
And he does a fantastic performance, like melts into it. But editing, I mean, did they watch the film? Yeah. There's a scene where they're outside a cafe, all four of them, and the geographical cuts as to who's looking at who make absolutely no sense whatsoever. Right. But what I think they did was watch the concert scenes and go, great, there's some editing there, let's give it best. And you go, no, I'm sorry, no.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think that's what I'm talking about, where it's like, it's not even a good film, let alone... a good biopic.
Well, that has to be a prerequisite, I think, for anyone to enjoy a biopic. The film's got to be alright.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that I've got a few films that I think are kind of like turning points into what kind of trend we're getting into now, and I think Bohemian Rhapsody is probably the big one.
Yeah, Bohemian Rhapsody.
One where it started being something I would just. It
feels like a TikTok edit. Bohemian Rhapsody. Do you know what I mean? It's so kind of overly busy, and the problem as well with it winning all the Oscars, it just meant that someone had to take the stage and avoid the name Bryan Singer all over again, because I mean, I've spoken about it on this podcast before, but like the whole production of that was a mess. Halfway through, so you lose Bryan Singer because of perfectly legitimate reasons as to why you would not want that man to work, and then you get Dexter Fletcher in, and it all kind of just bubbles and goes wrong. And it's a shame because theoretically a film about Queen should be really exciting. Yeah,
it should, but that's arguably its biggest crime is that it wasn't that interesting at all, to be honest. I feel the same with some recent ones, but...
Yeah, go on, tell me about the recent ones.
Okay,
which ones let you down?
I don't know if you've seen this one, because I genuinely think it was one that like actually flew a bit under the radar, like it didn't make the noise that I was expecting it to, but it was One Love, Bob Marley, which, have you seen it?
Yeah.
Mid. Really, that was like really genuinely boring. Yeah. Like, how do you make a period of Bob Marley's career, which is so significant, not only like culturally, politically, but also himself? How do you make that dull? Like it's insane, and that's another one where I think the editing is not good at all. It's just that they'll just randomly start playing a Bob Marley song in the background, like this'll do for this emotional peak. Like no, it won't. And it felt so formulaic. There was the classic, started from nothing, like you say. There's the they all realize he's a genius. Then there's like, oh, his management think he's getting a bit too much, like he's doing too much of this. Then there's a altercation with a romantic partner, then there's another altercation with management, then there's everything all works out because they all come together in the end for a big performance, and it's like that's literally everything we've seen in these biopics ever. And they could have done something so much more interesting with it, but for me it was such a frustrating watch because it looked like they were trying to, with all the undertones of like Rastafarianism and stuff, and these kind of like almost dreamlike vision sequences that he was having of himself as a child, and like what kind of I don't know, like colonialism in Jamaica meant to him on a personal level. Those sequences I thought were actually, they could have been really interesting, but instead of expanding on that remotely, they played the same shot like 4 times at different points in the film. That's not adding any kind of nuance or any kind of depth to what motivated him or who he was. That was just...
Are you getting this? At the
exactly.
Back? He is thinking of Jamaica and the colonial past.
Exactly. It's just, it feels like it's so on the nose and just, but on the nose with nothing. Like, I don't think those are topics you can really like half-ass when it comes to someone like Bob Marley, or to be fair, any of these people that we're going to talk about. So I don't know.
I completely concur. The flashback sort of dreamy stuff is always it's always a red flag for me. Not necessarily in the sense that if you have it in there, it's automatically bad. Yeah. But I think it has to be done interestingly.
Oh, of course, yeah.
And just going, just having a mid shot of someone and then it flashing back to a shot from their childhood with a slightly sort of white hue around it, just so that you know it was in the past. Exactly. It's so unbelievably dull and overdone. And it reminds me of, in bits in movies where you'll get to the pivotal moment, like some sort of thing in the third act, and you will hear in a voiceover a line that has been previously said in the film. Someone will be like, remember, always give way to the car from the right, or whatever, it is just like over the top, and then they go, I hate that. I don't need that. I know that I can see that bit happening. I don't need for you to then go, Uncle James said earlier in the film, if you recall. You might as well just play the fucking scene again at that stage, just beating me over the face.
And some films do that.
Yeah.
Play the scene again, so... Yeah.
Like this.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, One Love's... So, I think the thing at the heart of One Love, and I think the heart of every musical biopic, is you have to have a decent central performance, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I like Kingsley Benadir, but I don't think he was able to be Bob Marley enough. Do you know what I mean? I don't think he was quite given the room to go Bob Marley enough.
That's the thing. I think it was a potential issue.
Yeah.
Like, I think that was another really, really frustrating thing about it, because I feel like they just squandered all of the characters, all of the performances. 100%. I didn't feel like I knew anybody in this film. When it's supposed to be such an intimate portrayal of Bob Marley, why don't I feel like I know him? I thought his physical performance was great.
Yeah.
I thought, because obviously the way Bob Marley moved on stage, the way he sang, his voice, so distinctive. And I think in that respect, I thought Kingsley Benadir was great. But again, there was no room for that.
Yeah.
Because half the time he was just either sat in a room staring into the distance or staring into the distance while having a vision. It was just there was no...
Well, that's what I mean. The stuff that he did do, I loved, but I was like, give me more of that.
There wasn't enough. There wasn't enough of it. And even when those times when they'd be jamming in the studio, those quite literally, those scenes would be so drawn out.
Yeah.
There's not enough happening here. There's not enough interaction between anything. But
just sort of observing the music in this case. Because the rest of the film doesn't feel like a celebration, like we said. It feels like trying to do that very formulaic biopic thing.
Yeah.
Then just having the moments where they're jamming out and taking far too long in that. It's a tone shift.
Oh, exactly.
It's suddenly reveling in stuff that you haven't been reveling in before, and so it feels really mismatched.
100%. It's it also just completely takes any momentum out of this story of Jamaica and everything, because obviously he starts in Jamaica, gets shot. We'll know the story. Goes to London, records Exodus. And sometimes I was low-key just forgetting that Jamaica was part of the film. And then these two gangsters show up in London. They're like, we want you to come back. And it's like, oh, I forgot about that entire dimension of the film because you spent 10 minutes talking to this guitarist.
Yeah. Do you know what you needed?
What?
Another flashback.
Yeah, exactly.
So what other biopics slightly didn't hit the mark recently?
I can tell you one that very much didn't hit the mark. Yeah. But that was because a multitude of things. I just thought it was made in such bad faith.
Go on.
Back to Black. Amy Winehouse documentary.
No, I didn't see it.
Oh well,
I was told that Marissa Rebella. I heard very, very mixed things about that. It's not done well ratings and reviews wise.
It's not, critically, no.
Again, I was told it was kind of just a little bit underplayed.
From her? From
the whole sort of film.
I think it probably was, to be honest. But my issue with it, aside from being kind of a very dull and unengaging watch, to be honest, again, it's another person like such a vibrant life and character to them, to have that squandered in such a way is frustrating anyway. But Back to Black, made by Sam Taylor Johnson, who I already have issues with because she's a bit of a nonce, but anyway, sorry. But yeah, made by her.
I might beat Black.
You what?
I might believe that.
You might.
Potentially.
Yeah.
I don't know. I might believe it. It's funny either way.
But anyway, yeah. Already have issues with her, but I think surrounding the making of the film, apparently it was made very much against the wishes of the people close to Amy Winehouse.
Sure.
And I think that's quite reflected in the film, because you start to think, if you know anything about Amy Winehouse and her attitude towards being a celebrity and being famous, the very creation of a biopic of her is something wrong. I just feel like she would have fucking hated.
Yeah.
And honestly, I feel the same about Freddie Mercury. But anyway, maybe in a different way. But I just think when it's made with such kind of poor intention of like, let's get this extremely troubled and tragic yet talented and incredible character, and just essentially put her character through all of the horrendous like headlines that, you know, the Daily Mail and the Sun were writing about when she was alive, and it didn't feel like a rejuvenation of Amy Winehouse as an artist or a musician. It felt like, guys, remember when like this person was very publicly going through all of this bullshit? Sure. And yeah, man, that was peak, and that's genuinely how the film feels. And I've seen critics call it disgusting, like insensitive, vile, all of these things. The final scene is actually a bit shocking. It's like, obviously she had a very tumultuous relationship with Jack O'Connell's character, Blake, I can't remember his surname, but essentially that man moves on, marries another woman and has a child, and the final scene is Amy Winehouse discovering this, hearing it from a paparazzi, going back into her home, standing in front of the mirror, and just starts like gently singing a song to herself before it's implied she goes up and overdoses or, you know, dies of alcohol poisoning.
And for that reason, I'm out.
It's exactly. It's just that's just absolutely insane. Just insensitive doesn't even really kind of like cover how that kind of makes you feel. Like it just makes you feel a bit dirty watching it. Yeah, wasn't a fan of that. Wasn't a fan of how it was executed, and I think it's one of the examples where the intention behind it is not even good at all.
Sure.
It's just, you know.
Okay, so I'm totally on the same page with you at the minute, which is great. I think what I want to do is kind of come to a core argument here.
Okay.
Which is why I'm trying to relate things back to A Star Is Born and other things.
Okay, yeah.
I think not just musical biopics, but biopics in general, because they're sort of not having a musical, they're quite a growing trend anyway.
Yeah, of course.
They become brilliant when they stop obsessing over recreating someone's Wikipedia page.
Exactly.
And instead use that environment, use that scope to explore something a bit bigger or something else.
Yes.
When the film isn't, here's the greatest hits of Phil Collins.
Yeah.
But instead it's about a cultural shift or rivalry or tragedy or feeling or place whatever. Like, that's when things are better.
Definitely.
And I've got a few examples, along with A Star Is Born, of where they're not necessarily musical ones. In fact, they're not remotely musical ones. But they sort of get that thing across. So, the first one, I recently saw a film. It was not world-beating by any means, right? But I enjoyed it a lot more than I would any of the standard musical biopics like One Love or anything like that.
Yeah.
It was called Mr. Burton.
Okay.
It was about the rise of Richard Burton from small Welsh villager to Richard Burton, right?
Yeah.
The film works because it isn't Richard Burton the movie. What it's about is the guy who taught him how to act, which is a guy called Mr. Burton, who were then went on to adopt him, and that became why he chooses Richard Burton as his surname, right? It's about the environment that created him. It's not about his best performances. It's about where he came from and the context of his life and why it has meaning. Not about necessarily the important person at the centre. It's about kind of the people around him that made him to become who he was, right? And that's inherently more interesting than watching someone just copy Richard Burton's mannerisms for 2 hours, right? Exactly. Again, there was bits of it that weren't, like, it was filmmaking wise, there were bits of it that weren't magic. But there's 2 great performances. Toby Jones was playing the guy that teaches him, so you know you're always in safe hands, and it was brilliant. And then I've also got The Damned United as an example, right? Because it is essentially the story of Brian Clough, but what I think is important about it, and what I think some of these biopics miss, it doesn't get to the big successes. Like, you don't watch Brian Clough take Nottingham Forest to the European Trophy, right? It stops sort of, you know, just after the failure of him at Leeds after Don Revie's left. Right. And what I love about it is it's this kind of, it's all about the footballing world. It's just kind of through the prism of Brian Clough.
Okay,
right?
yeah.
And I like that it's just kind of, he's just a lens for these things to work.
Yeah.
It's about, you know, a rivalry, his own attitudes, working class upstarts, confronting your own ego. Yeah. It doesn't need to show the European Cups because those aren't the point. The point is the fire that started that he'd one day win them.
Yeah.
And I don't, as much as I enjoy the spectacle of watching Rami Malek pretend to be Freddie Mercury at Live Aid, whatever, and they do that Live Aid concert very well. They recreate it very well. Yeah. But that's only 10 minutes of the film, and I remember the rest of it still, and I remember it as being bad. Right? Yeah, the whole thing needs to be in there. Again, I've got United again, which is a film about the Munich air crash. Yes, it centres on Bobby Charlton, but sort of Jack Charlton even. But at the heart of it is not him. It's Jimmy Murphy. It's the club. It's the trauma. It's the rebuild. It's about hope and fragility. It's not the Jack Charlton story. The central figure is essentially witnessing things, not the focus of things, and that's what I love. And then of course you've got Oppenheimer, right? Which is the Oppenheimer story. And what's weird about that is that you see him go from moment to end, right? But what it's not. The reason why that works is because the moment of Oppenheimer is just the moment. What people really know him for at all is that one period of time at Los Alamos, right? So you've got all that in it, but it's also about moral compasses, collective guilt, machinery of the state, paranoia, power, responsibility, marital distress when you're in these kind of high pressure environments. If anything, the film argues that his greatness is irrelevant compared to like the seismic ethical repercussions of what's going on. So I'm less interested in seeing the Bob Marley story than I would be if it was purely about Jamaica. Oh yeah, 100%. And I think it sounds like I'd be more interested. I think I'd be really, really interested in an Amy Winehouse movie that was set in the offices of the newspapers. Oh yeah, something where it was about the perspective of what tabloids were at the time, and how that it doesn't have to be specifically just about that person. But that's another thing that's with the Bob Marley film was they were just dancing around it. Yeah, it wasn't. I don't think you can try and do both. Yeah, you can't do those spectacles of look how amazing this person's work is. Let's celebrate this body of work while doing it was happening in this political context. He was going through this. She was going through that. I think it should be more one or the other in terms of your like thematic focus, because otherwise you don't do either justice, and then you get a boring film that's badly paced, that's just doesn't have any kind of focus or motivation. Sure. So which ones did you like recently then? Because it can't all have been bad. No, there's some that I really liked. Bad. I thought Complete Unknown was good. Yeah, I like Timothée Chalamet. I'm gonna get back to him. Okay. I think just because I think he's part of my issue with this trend of biopics, and I think you touched on it when you were talking about just these actors and actresses just fiending for Oscars. But we'll talk about that in a bit. Yeah, I thought he was really good. Again, I thought it was quite like unflinching in a way. I liked that they had him interacting with other musicians at the time, showing that he kind of wasn't necessarily always kind of this secure like visionary that people thought he was. Where his interactions with people like Johnny Cash and Emmylou Harris and all of that, I just thought it was more interesting. Maybe I also liked the way it was edited, shot, performed. It might just be a bit more superficial like that, but yeah. Well, I think Mangold's quite a patient director, and that came across. To be honest, I kind of liked the pacing of it. Yeah. And it was lively when it needed to be, and the conversations were interesting as well. Like they had a good script, Complete Unknown. I was really appreciative of that, because I think sometimes the script is designed to hit certain beats that get you to the musical bits, and I find that it's almost like a musical sort of doing a cue into a song, right? Or what are we, some kind of Suicide Squad, and then they're all the credits. Oh, God, yeah. So A Complete Unknown I did like. The big one for me of recent that I actually genuinely loved was Elvis. Elvis is down there as well. So I think Elvis is everything that Bohemian Rhapsody wanted to be. Right. Which is, it's maximalist, it's stylized, it's operatic, it's electric. It takes one of the most familiar musical figures of all time and gives him like energy, movement. Doesn't shy away from the opening stages as well, which it doesn't just sort of disregard what goes on before. Everything's linked back, everything links in, and it's not a case of going, do you remember that bit at the start when he danced? Yeah. It's like going, you can see it happen all the way through. Oh yeah. I also think that Baz Luhrmann is the perfect person to direct a film about Elvis, because it's just like this mental Australian bloke. And somebody went, here's this, and he went, oh blimey mate, yeah, I love it, just gonna crack on and do that, and then you go, okay, fine, yeah, sure, I'm with you. Framing it through the Colonel's eyes is a great way to do it, because it means you're not just in the head of one person for the whole time.
True,
it means you get a sort of a perspective look. You get their psyche, but you also get sort of the management side of it as well, and a lot of it centres on that. Austin Butler is amazing.
Yeah, he's great.
Transformative. What I would worry about is if... I don't know what his next project is. I would worry if Damien Chazelle was about to be in charge of a biopic. I don't think he is, though, is he?
I've heard rumours about
an untitled prison set drama with Cillian Murphy and Daniel Craig and talks the star.
That doesn't sound like a musical biopic.
Did you watch Babylon?
I did not.
You didn't?
I did not.
That's a shame.
No.
I was just going to see if you... Because I hated it. Famously.
Oh, really? Yeah, of course, yeah. Really I was going to say, I think it might have been your feelings about it put me off a little bit.
I mean, that's possible. But I remember sitting here and you talking about how much you loved La La Land.
I did enjoy La La Land.
We all loved La La Land. But what has happened, seemingly, is that Damien Chazelle has decided that the only way to make a film is to put together a series of over-choreographed set pieces.
Right.
Which go a million miles an hour and go... And the camera goes swilly, and go woo, and the music's just, fucking take a second.
Yeah.
I mean, bloody hell.
Because La La Land didn't really do that.
No.
I felt like La La Land was fairly, like...
It was moments of real reserve.
Exactly,
and measure, and oh god, the lighting and stuff like that. There was bits of choreographed stuff in it, really, really impressive bits of choreographed stuff, but it wasn't the whole shebang.
No.
Whereas Babylon just like constantly, it's like holding a Kalashnikov for 3 hours and just go, what the bloody hell is this? And it's flying all over the place. Anyway, do you want to do the Oscars bit?
We'll talk about...
Yeah, because I feel like with Elvis, with Complete Unknown, they're both, and even Bohemian Rhapsody as well, these are all films which went like star. Yeah. And of course that means people go, we'll take notice of Star. He sounds and acts like the person that we know, so that's really good. That's obviously good acting. We'll give you an Oscar. Yeah. What do you make of it?
I think it's becoming quite cynical, to be honest.
Okay.
I had my issues. I mentioned Timothée Chalamet. I think he's a great actor. I think some people really commend the attitude that he takes towards acting, where he feels like it's almost like he's competitive, that he wants to be the best.
Yeah.
And it does perform like he was dedicated to that embodiment of Bob Dylan. But I think there's something quite disconcerting about people, because it reflects back through studios and then people who... the engines that churn out these films.
Yeah.
It reflects back through them, where they think that's an interesting musical historical figure. Let's get like the hottest person on it, right? Because they'll be fiending for that opportunity as well. And I don't like that. I don't like that Timothée Chalamet got on stage and was like, he'd done a performance about Bob Dylan and all the kind of intricacies of that man's persona, of his influence and his cultural like imaginings, whatever, however you want to say it. And then he got on stage and was like, I'm here to be the best.
I want to be Michael Jordan, Viola Davis.
Exactly. It's like, I don't know. I feel like having a little bit less humility. Well, I would say he had zero humility in that moment. It kind of takes you out of it. It made me feel like when I was watching Complete Unknown, I was like, I can't not see you as Timothée Chalamet.
Sure.
I don't know. It feels it's getting to a point where it feels a bit nefarious. Where it's I mean, I was gonna land on this maybe in a little bit, but I'll do it now. The Beatles casting.
Beatles stuff. Yeah.
Jesus Christ. But I hated that, to be honest. I really, really hated it. And
Who are the 4 hottest men acting in England at the minute? I was going.
Yeah. It's TikTok casting, man.
It kind of is.
It's like they went and saw who had the most edits about them, and then just threw them in. And
oh no, it's a Beatles biopic, but Ringo's played by George Clark. What are we going to do?
Oh man. But yeah, it was. I think that started. Whether it was Timothée Chalamet or Austin Butler or whoever, it was, because Austin Butler was great. Yeah. And I don't think he necessarily had that attitude. But I also think his identity, relating to the film, all this stuff about how he couldn't ditch the accent and whatnot, which, like, fair enough, not my place to comment on. But I think it's become more about like, let's attach a celebrity to this.
Yeah, it's weird as well, because you don't need that. I mean,
no.
If you're making a biopic in any case, but particularly a musical biopic, you've already got recognisable IP.
Exactly.
In the shape of the person, right?
For sure.
So, which why, to be honest with you, I quite like the casting of someone like Kingsley Ben-Adir.
I was just about to say.
Because he's not necessarily the biggest name in the world. He's not an unknown actor by any means, but like, he's not the first name on people's sort of Hollywood watch lists. No. But it makes sense, and you know, they do the audition, and if they fit it, then they're good.
Yeah.
Marissa Abela, if they do a good audition and they seem like the right fit, put them in the film.
Exactly.
Don't just go, you know, we're going to do the Depeche Mode story starring Glenn Powell. You know, that's what it's going to be next. Or
exactly. I'm half expecting like a David Bowie biopic with fucking Jacob Elordi.
Well, this is the thing.
Is there a David Bowie
biopic? Absolute worst.
I just tried to Google it. But.
The worst film I've seen in a long time, well, up there with some of the worst films I've ever seen in a long time, is a film called Stardust from 2020.
I when I was like doing a little bit of research for this, I heard about that
my
various video essays.
Good lord.
Right.
So, Johnny Flynn stars as somebody called David Bowie,
right?
But he's not allowed to be David Bowie because the estates don't let them use the music.
I remember the context of how I saw this. Yeah,
it's absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
As Jack Howard says, if you really liked Johnny Flynn, if you really liked David Bowie, you wouldn't make this film.
No,
like he doesn't sing any of the Bowie songs, but oh god,
I don't know how you make a film without it. To be honest, like
it's his sort of rise into becoming Ziggy Stardust. It's almost schizophrenic,
right?
And he got a lot of violent hate mail, Johnny Flynn, after doing this. And to be honest with you, I don't condone hate mail, but I can understand why people are angry.
Yeah.
But something which I heard on a podcast where they were talking about slating this film, like it's absolutely awful. And this Johnny Flynn performance is so hammed up, and I like having sex and singing rock and roll and singing, God, what are you doing, man? It made $9,000.
Deserved.
You just go, oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no.
There's actually another one I've heard where it's a similar situation where it was actually someone talking about the worst genres of film ever. Mm-hmm. They had started by saying musical biopics, which, you know, if they want, that's fine. But then they said musical biopics where they don't have rights to the music. And there's another one which was I think it was a 2013 one. Jimi Hendrix, actually. I can't remember the name of it. But it's Andre 3000 of Outkast. Very, very talented man. Mm-hmm. Trying his hand at acting, playing Jimi Hendrix. It's got...
Jimmy, All Is By My Side.
All Is By My Side. Yes, that was it.
Good cast.
It's a stacked cast, which just makes it even more frustrating that they poured so much money into it.
They couldn't use any of Jimi Hendrix's music?
None of his music.
Right.
It's just
describe that as suboptimal position to start making a film.
That's what this person was saying. I can't remember who it was. I'll try and find them, but I just won't be able to. But he was saying that these films are just dead before they even start.
Well, yeah.
You know, that's how can you even begin to make a film about a musician where you can't even use the music? It's like that's like saying, "Oh, let's make The Social Network," but we can't mention Facebook. You know? Like,
yeah.
It doesn't make any sense.
Sure.
Yeah.
What are we going to call it? Bookface. Yeah, on the Oscars point, I mean, I do want to come back to a film called Music, which is, it's directed by Sia.
Oh God, yeah, I heard of
it.
Didn't watch it very
absolutely shambolic. Now, I don't listen to Rotten Tomatoes, but it's got 7% on Rotten Tomatoes, which makes me go, who gave it 7? On the Oscars thing, I think the point of it is there's a reason people joke that the best way to win Best Actor is to play a real person with trauma, and you've sort of already ordered the tuxedo, right? Yeah. It's seen as harder and more prestigious because it requires an imitation, it involves an obvious physical transformation, it feels serious and worthy. But it will come back to a point which I am struggling to get through all of life without just feeling constantly, which is that people are lazy.
Oh yeah, it lacks creativity.
It lacks creativity, and what people do is they go, ooh, I can recognise the change in physicality between who I know you as to be, A-list celebrity, and who you are pretending to be, A-list singer, and go, well, there's an obvious change, you must have done some acting there. And then you look at Casey Affleck in like Manchester by the Sea, and all of his physicality is downward directed. It's more subtle, it's quieter. That's not how he behaves in real life. But nobody goes like, what a transformative performance. People go, oh, that's a good bit of acting, he's very sad. But you don't go like, oh, he's transformed. Of course he has. It's completely, and just because somebody is walking like Liam Gallagher doesn't mean that they are suddenly better than somebody who's playing a fictional character.
No, definitely.
Why I love A Star Is Born, because there is actual physical change in Lady Gaga's performance from start to end. At the start of it, she's that sort of excitable version of yourself when like your shoulders are up and you're sort of like, you're a bit shy but you're sort of enjoying everything. By the end of it, she's sort of like downward faced, her shoulders are back, her chest is out, she's kind of like, she's really standing up to this because she's been hardened by everything. She's gotten used to the rough treatment from Bradley Cooper. Now she's kind of thinking, look, I'm going to stand up for myself here because no one else is going to do it for me. Bradley Cooper starts sort of calm and suave and casual and just goes down and down and down and down, and it's a really nuanced performance from both of them, and it's completely transformative. But just because they weren't playing people that we don't know doesn't mean that like it's suddenly less of a performance. But like studios use it as strategic. You know, the categories for best actor and actress every year are full of people playing musicians, politicians, actors, scientists, celebrities, all that. It's not an accident. It's a pipeline. It's like Jessica Chastain playing The Eyes of Tammy Faye. And you go, that's an Oscar towards hair and makeup. I'm sorry, that is just all that is.
No, I get it. I feel that the same point is with you know how you were saying it feels like superhero movies at the start of the 2010s. Yeah. What it's starting to feel like to me is live action Disney remakes and the way that they get those CGI nominations, or editing, or sound design, stuff like that. That's how it feels. Just a cheap way to get there. Yeah. But
also I think if you're looking at the conventional arc of any musician's rise to power, there's some sort of trauma or addiction or tragedy or redemption in it inherently, and because you know that story's there, you know it works as a story. But the brave thing to do is the Zodiac, where you go, it's not a film about the killer, it's a film about the process of trying to find the killer, which is why it's so good. The more time goes on, and actually I remember you talking about it when we did the Fincher episode, the more I go, Zodiac's fucking brilliant, isn't it?
It's really good.
Like, so good.
Yeah, I'd go back to it very quickly.
Also, I think my big problem with it is actually it being such easy Oscar bait is it promotes laziness within the industry. Like, I'd much rather see another Damned United or another Star Is Born or another Oppenheimer, I guess, or something like that, which tells me a story which I can't already see happening.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't think anyone was anticipating the ending of Oppenheimer to be he stands looking at droplets of water like he did at the start and says, we've ruined everything. I think most people were going to think it would be, you'd get to the big bomb going off, and then he'd be like, "Ooh, do America like me?" Oh, no, that's a bit shame. And then the film would end. And actually, it was just like, we've just fucked ourselves. I've just done something so monumental. I don't even know if I disagree with it or not, because it was probably felt like the right thing to do at the time. Yeah. But now we're fucked. I don't think anyone would have anticipated that. No. And I think I could tell you the end of Bohemian Rhapsody before it started. I liked Rocket Man, but it was fun, but I could tell you the end of it before it started. Yeah. So it's like a tribute act with a $50 million budget. I mean, it's just kind of it feels a bit dirty. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, it does. Yeah, I think it's like, especially with the casting. We talked about casting of the Beatles. It feels like it's not about the person that it's being made about. It's like the Hollywoodization of that person. It's not even being put to film. It's being thrown into like Hollywood, where it's like, let's get the fittest blokes we can find, or the most beautiful actresses, and let's just make this fucking sell, and that's just frustrating, and it borders on feeling like you're eroding that person's original, what they did, what they kind of went through. And I felt that particularly obviously with the Amy Winehouse one, but
I mean, there's not to say that those actors won't take it serious.
Oh no, of course they will,
but by the same token, Joe Quinn doesn't look like George Harrison. It just doesn't make any. It just doesn't make any sense.
The Beatles were some freaky looking dudes. No offense, but like, they were. They really were. I felt the same about Bob Dylan. To be fair, like, he's a weird looking bloke, and I don't know. It's
certainly got the man with the pointiest jaw on planet Earth.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, but what I don't want to do, however, is reduce all biopic performances to being the same thing.
No, of course not.
Because impersonation isn't the problem. Impersonation without any kind of emotional architecture is the issue. So you can praise Rami Malek, Austin Butler. I give massive praise to Kristen Stewart in Spencer. Because I fucking adored that. I thought she was amazing, and it was all about the sort of... It really hamped up all of the sort of everyday elements that were weaponized against her. So there's a huge weaponization of food in that movie.
Right.
And she plays off it delightfully. She's not just doing a sort of... bumper clot. She's not just doing. There were 3 of us in this marriage. It all feeds in, and she's kind of emotionally human within that lens, and I love all that. The key distinction is bad biopics are here's the person you recognise, enjoy the impression.
Yeah.
Good ones are here's the person in crisis, in context, in conflict. The impression is just kind of the entry point.
Yeah.
And that's what I liked about Elvis. Was it sort of went, okay, here is the man. Here is Austin Butler. Here's how he's doing it, and you're gonna watch him go mad. What I like about Elvis, and possibly because of the way Elvis's life went, there's no resolution at the end. There's no victory moment. It literally just trails off into sad, and that's what's good about A Star Is Born.
Yeah,
he just dies.
Exactly. I think half of these films need to accept that for a lot of these people there was no happy ending. You know, like some of them did just die, and obviously their influence lives on, and it's fine if the film wants to be like, look at this, look at what they've still done. Look at how Amy Winehouse's music is still about. Look at how everyone fucking riffed off of Elvis. Yeah. Look at how Bob Marley changed Jamaica and the global perception of that country. That's fine, but don't pretend like they were fucking so happy all the time and like this is they all ended with some kind of like emotional resolution, because that's just not the case.
I prefer instances where the people are less known. If you're going to tell a story where the result is the big thing, I get that. But sometimes the people not being known is a good thing. But there is a film, and it is silly, right? But I loved this film. I really had a good time with it. It was a film called Air.
Oh yeah, no, I was thinking that you might touch on Air.
God, you don't see Michael Jordan's face in it once. Right. They always shoot him from the back. He doesn't have any lines. It's and the plot line of it, as Mark Kermode says, he goes, and then they licensed a shoe. And we're supposed to think that's interesting, but it was interesting. It was great. It was what people have these really charged conversations, trying to design something while it's also sort of like being on the brink. They thought they had something, but they couldn't guarantee it, and without it they would all have literally been homeless. I mean, they had nothing else to go off. Watching these sort of personal crises unfold within the realm of this kind of elite world of the NBA, and trying to sign whoever they could to be the sponsor for that, to be the person to make the great basketball shoe. I mean, making shoes isn't necessarily a very cinematic or interesting way to do it. But the way Ben Affleck directed it, the way it was written, it was so fun and engaging. And then you get, you get A-list Hollywood actors in who are going to provide the sort of entertainment to it. But it wasn't like, because it wasn't just them being in it, it was the attraction. It wasn't them going... Matt Damon's a person and we've made him all shiny. It was Matt Damon's actually just a man working in a factory trying to make a shoe, and Jason Sudeikis is trying to... Not Jason Sudeikis, Jason Bateman is like also trying to help design a shoe, but his marriage is falling apart and stuff, and Ben Affleck's his boss. He's an absolute arsehole, but he's trying his best. He's very excited about everything. All that sort of thing. It's like people, recognisable people playing characters that you wouldn't have known. Is the better way to do it, rather than going, right, okay, so we need someone to play Boris Johnson. Is Austin Butler free? Or do I text Helena Bonham Carter now and just go, sorry, what are you doing? Why is any of this going on?
Exactly.
The example for me where you go, oh no, you're a prat doing an impression, is Maestro with Bradley Cooper.
I was going to talk about it. Because it was everything. I'll be real, not seen it.
Right.
But...
Don't.
Okay. But I just remember it was so bizarre seeing an interview of him with Leonard Bernstein's family and Bradley Cooper crying about the fact that they had lost Leonard Bernstein. I was like, that's just insane, bruv. Exactly, like, Jesus Christ.
Take a moment.
It's just, it's insane. It's insane.
Yeah. I mean... It relies on the performance looking like Leonard Bernstein, but it forgets to tell us what the hell he was thinking or doing, why he was doing it. It's pretty in the way that an advert would be pretty.
Right.
Because all you have for an advert is 10 seconds where you need something to be shiny and poppy or whatever. What it does is set things up using a 35mm camera and go, that looks pretty nice, all grainy and pretty, look at that. And then you watch the scene play out and you go, this makes... why have you lit it like this?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it's not even... It's a sense that sometimes they've done it so badly that they've tried to set things up looking grainy in 35mm and then put people out of the light. As if it's supposed to mean something or look good, and you go, I can't see anybody. This is rubbish.
Yeah.
Carey Mulligan is way, 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 way better than Bradley Cooper in that film. But, you know, people don't really know about Mrs. Bernstein. No. It's again because she wasn't necessarily just trying to do. Her character had all the depth, had all the emotion, had all the. Whereas then it was literally just a case of I'm fat and I'm going to compose and then I'm going to stand here and wave my arms. It was like Bruno Tonioli. That's what it felt like. I was watching Bruno Tonioli for about 2 hours. Nothing about what he wants, what he fears, what changes him, what breaks him, what he costs other people. It's just like watching a man doing a sort of very. It's like watching someone doing a very committed audition.
Yeah. Okay.
And then never seeing them do the play. That's what it feels like. There's nothing wrong with impersonation. There's nothing wrong with impersonation, right? Because great actors building it, and all film and TV industry is stealing things from other people. Yeah, they use it as foundation. But the performances that stay with us, the ones that the Oscars genuinely should reward, are the ones that give us emotional stakes and contradictions and consequences and nuance and depth, and don't just go, with Maestro, it's a case of you can't just get the mannerisms perfect and that still be enough and say nothing. You have to do all that and then build it in to everything else. Yeah. It just so happens that when it comes to acting roles of real people that we know, people already have a preconceived image of them. So,
yeah. But that's the thing. I'd love to see people kind of like almost riff off of something that's not so known. Or just make something completely new out, not even a biopic. Yeah. So, Sinners. Yeah. Right.
Me and you were on the same.
I loved Sinners so much, and I'm assuming you know about it because you're you. But it's obviously like it bases itself off of the story of Robert Johnson, which is obviously for anybody that doesn't know. Robert Johnson, like OG, probably the first real well-known blues singer, due to his kind of success as a black man in the Deep South, had certain allegations against him that he had made a deal with the devil, that he'd gone to like a crossroad or a train track with his guitar and he'd come out with the power of Satan to, beguile all the good Christian folk in the region. And I love the fact that they took just that, not his name, not anything else, not his place of origin, but took that myth that was invented about him and made just probably one of the most like spectacular and multifaceted films that I've seen like probably ever, to be honest. But I thought it was amazing to have that dimension blown up like that. Well,
what's great about everything you just said, and yet Sammy could just be Sammy. Do you know what I mean? You don't necessarily have to know.
Of course, like it's not even a necessary thing to understand about that film.
It's just another extra brilliant layer to all of its complexity. I fucking adore Sinners. I don't think anything's going to give me an experience in the cinema like that again this year, to be honest, because I was so like overwhelmed when it got to the like the sort of the past, present and future sequence when they were all done. Oh my good lord, my jaw was on the floor. I was just sat there like,
do you mean kind of like what the clothes
we see in the shadows thing, where you get the guy coming in the electric guitar and you get all the sort of the old ancient dances. Man,
that sounds like one of those things where if you pitched it, everyone would be like, that's corny as hell, like how are you ever gonna execute that? But it was just remarkable.
Yeah, it was perfect.
I also think the end, well, I mean that's very vague, but I mean like where it's present day Sammy, but then it flashes itself back to
the church.
Well, the last day they saw.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
When he's in the car, just strumming the guitar. Now him and I can't remember if it's Smoke or Stack that ends up living, but
Smoke
is right. I feel like it is. I feel like it is Smoke.
Yeah, Smoke.
But the fact that they're both kind of like, if only we could go back there.
And then
it's about obviously then that ties into the whole transformative power of music, and I was like, oh yeah, whip out that old guitar, let's see it. And that's just like, insane work, to be honest.
It's amazing.
Don't know how it was. I can't even imagine like conceiving something like that.
Yeah.
But.
So are we going to end up in agreement that the best musical biopic of recent years is Sinners? Even though it's not.
I just think it's a phenomenal movie, but there are some that I'm somewhat excited about.
Go on. What's coming up then? Because I'm not massively across all this.
Coming up, obviously the Beatles, but I'm not. I genuinely.
But it's not coming up in like 2029.
Oh yeah, it's a long.
Is it 4 films?
I think it is.
Fuck. I'm sorry.
I
too much.
know. I'm not gonna watch Barry Keoghan play
Ringo
by himself for like 2 hours. But yeah, the Beatles ones, I'm gonna kind of bun that off unless I hear like really good things. What?
A Michael Jackson biopic starring Jafar.
Okay, yeah, this is actually what made me text you being like, this is what I want to talk about. Because I was in the cinema watching Wicked for Good, actually.
Oh, right.
By the way, is good. Not nearly as good as the first. But
really?
Yeah.
Ooh, I've heard bad things. But anyway.
You heard bad things?
Yeah.
I thought it was alright. I enjoyed it. Very lesbian, but not intentionally. But
is this just the interviews, or is this the actual film itself?
That carries through. But anyway.
What's your favourite colour? Hold me!
Yeah, it's insane. But yes,
honestly, I'm sorry. Some of the interviews are wicked. Some of them go straight in with the hard questions. Yeah. Do you like shoes?
Oh, yeah. Some of it's. I mean, that's a whole other.
Here we go.
That's a whole podcast.
What's your
episode.
Favourite cheese?
That's a whole other podcast episode about how just movie journalism just cooked.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I was in the cinema watching that, and it was the first thing that I'd seen, the first trailer that I'd seen for this. This Michael Jackson film, and it might be bad, but my first thought was, are they going to talk about his proximity to children? Yeah, that as well.
Proximity to children.
I was like, that's genuinely my first thought.
Yeah,
and like, I obviously I don't mean it in that way. I just mean like, is this going to be remotely multidimensional, or is this just going to be Bohemian Rhapsody but for Michael Jackson?
Yeah,
because the trailer was just that. It was all these glitzy, shiny shots of. God, they were all kind of boring looking shots, to be honest. But it was of, him doing his business on stage with his gloves and his moonwalk and his tilt, and there were flashes of, Thriller, and it was just like, it's just gonna be the same thing.
Is Jafar gonna play white Michael Jackson?
That's another thing. Are they gonna do his race switch? But probably yes.
Right. Okay.
Like it's just obviously Michael Jackson, one of, if not the greatest musician of all time, regardless of what you think about genre, his influence, his position in culture, whatever, and they can do that if they want. Yeah, but I also think calling him deeply problematic is also an understatement. Whether it be like all of his issues with, I mean, I don't think addiction is an inherently problematic thing, but anyway, his alterations to his whole body, his race switch by the seams of it, his very, very unnerving and dark
approach to the young ones.
Exactly, his proximity to young children.
It's an incredibly diplomatic way of put it.
It was, yes.
Proximity to children.
It's just...
Excuse me, can we... a bit less proximity to children here, please.
I just think like there's so much actual darkness, like real darkness to uncover. And it's just never going to do that, is it?
The Jackson family are interesting. So Jafar's dad is Jermaine Jackson.
Right, okay.
He was on Nevermind the Buzzcocks once, when Simon Ansell was hosting. It was very, very funny. And I think, and it's their lives, so they're allowed to do it, whatever, crack on. I think Jafar married his brother's ex-wife.
Okay.
But she had 2 children with his brother. Okay. And then had more children with him. So there was a lot going on there. But at one point, after all these weird things that Jermaine has supposedly done, Simon just turns to me and goes, "What about your brother Michael? Has he done anything weird?" And at that point, it was his peak of like Michael Jackson's a bit questionable time. Yeah. He just looked at me like, "Has he done anything weird?" And I've never seen a man not want to be anywhere more than Jermaine Jackson on that TV show. It's absolutely hysterical.
God.
A list of upcoming biopics then. So we've got the Michael Jackson one coming up. Springsteen, Jeremy Allen White doing that. But I think that might be out now. Yeah. Obviously, you've got the Beatles with... let's assess it individually. Harris Dickinson as John Lennon. No.
No.
Paul Mescal as Paul McCartney.
No. It's a weird looking...
Barry Keoghan as Ringo Starr. They've got the same nose, but no. And Joe Quinn as George Harrison. It's no. I mean, it's a maybe.
It's the closest.
It's the closest you get. But like, I mean, Paul Mescal was Paul McCartney. Have you seen MeatFreeMondays.com?
No.
What I'm going to do for you, everyone now at home, is play a clip of Paul McCartney doing an ad campaign for a thing called Meat Free Mondays.
I've seen some of his vegetarian propaganda.
Good lord, it's vegetarian propaganda. It's so funny, but he starts to break into what can only be described as an audition for One Love. Paul McCartney, Meat Free Monday. It's the weirdest thing you will ever hear. I'm going to play it down the mic.
Okay.
Please, just log in. Oh my god, I stim this sometimes because it makes me laugh so much. An urgent call to action from Paul McCartney. He's basically pledging everyone for 1 day a week, every Monday, don't eat meat. Right?
Please do it. We'll send all these pledges to the politicians and then they'll do something about it. So I need your help. Please, just log in, pledge.meatfreemondays, or one word, .com. Pledge.meatfreemondays.com. 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 You can do it right now, please.
Oh, it's just the hint of patois in there. The ever so slight Jamaican accent.
And finishes it with please Bumberclot. Like, I mean, that is so bizarre. Who is management let that go out? Did they not refilm it and go, look, Paul, maybe don't do the Caribbean accent at the end.
I'd love to see Paul Mescal try that. I think that'd be amazing.
If someone's commented saying, if you play this video backwards, it's about a Jamaican immigrant who moves to Liverpool and eventually picks up the accent. That was a long time ago, though. That was 11 years ago that he did that, and people don't mention it. I mean, celebrities are weird, but more people should talk about it. Other biopics.
There's another one I know about.
Go on.
Which I've got very mixed feelings about because the description from the studio about what it's going to be feels like it contrasts what it looks like.
Okay, go ahead.
Which is Ronnie Spector.
Ronnie Spector?
Yeah.
Well then.
As in, you know.
Yeah.
Be my baby.
Yeah.
Two terrible renditions from us there. But yes.
We are available.
Yeah, so it's as far as A24 producing it.
Oh, I've just seen who's going to play.
Yeah. So A24 have decided to make it as a more intimate look at Ronnie Spector and her relationship with Phil Spector.
Yeah.
Phil Spector very publicly, something that's known about him now, was extremely abusive towards Ronnie Spector, and it's going to be about her dealing with that and becoming essentially a survivor of abuse. But then, as you've just seen, it's Zendaya playing her.
It is.
But the funny thing about that, actually, is Ronnie Spector, before she passed away, was asked in an interview if there was anybody who would play her, and she said Zendaya. But I don't know how to feel. How do you feel? Well, initial reactions.
Well, look, it's directed by Barry Jenkins, who I really like.
Yeah, that's another exciting part.
It just seems like it's a rite of passage now to be an A-lister. You do a Hollywood biopic of somebody. Yeah. Because also, apart from that one, which might be problematic, but Leonardo DiCaprio is going to play Frank Sinatra.
Christ.
Selena Gomez is going to be Linda Ronstadt. You've got a Shout Out Loud, which is a biopic about Kiss with Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley involved. Britney Spears is going to have a biopic. The Piano Man, Billy Joel's going to have one.
Let's leave Britney alone.
Well, leave Britney alone. That campaign has never gone away, and I will never stop flying its flag. Leave the woman alone.
Yeah, like God, I've heard. Oh yeah, that's another one that made me think about this.
Yeah,
because people have been saying, "Oh, get Millie Bobby Brown in on it." Like,
nope.
Fucking please don't. Nothing against Millie Bobby Brown. I think she's good at her job, and she's been under so much scrutiny for some nonsense.
She has. Yeah, she has.
But also, please don't play Britney.
Yeah. No.
I think a lot of those are just.
Well, the Britney story's still happening. There's no reason.
Thing. Like, God, I the first time I introduced my disdain for modern biopics to my friends, I said, let's not make one for another 20 years. Yeah. Let's just let some people die and then let's do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think so many of these stories are just ongoing.
Yeah.
Like Britney's, her case, a case with a father and a sister ended, what, like 2 years ago? Maybe more. Maybe I'm imagining it, but God.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, just don't fill the press with everything again. Exactly. I mean, just let the woman breathe, for goodness sake.
That's like re-traumatizing.
Yeah.
Like, no one wants to see Millie Bobby Brown fucking shave her head and go start smashing up
cars.
Not
again, anyway. Start smashing up cars. That is just Stranger Things.
Exactly.
Millie Bobby Brown shaves her head, screams, has a nosebleed, and smashes a car.
So Millie Bobby Brown gets to play 11 again, but as Billy.
But this time, it's 12, bitch.
Jesus, that was good.
Yeah, so
I don't like the idea of any of them.
No, I'm not massively keen on that Ronnie Spector. I mean, if it's a story she wants to be told, fine.
Yes,
but it needs to be treated with the right level of reverence. It needs to be not Hollywoodized. It needs to be real. I would almost rather. What we did for music artists that we loved is do things like the Sparks Brothers documentary.
Would do it, yes, a documentary. Yeah.
I'm always so much more fascinated with talking head documentaries about the rise of people than I am with biopics about the people. Because what you get is people that know them. You get archive footage. You get a more accurate representation of the kind of rise without having to go, and then they had a moment once. No one knows this, but they did have a moment where they looked in the mirror and sang a song to themselves, or they looked in a mirror and cried, or they went home and their mother said, "Get out of my house, you're no son of mine, Elton John," or whatever, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
the best films like this are ones that aren't about what they're about. The best films of any film are not about what they're about. The Social Network's not about Facebook. Fight Club's not about a Fight Club. I can't think of anything that isn't a David Fincher film. Inception's not about a plane flight. Yeah. Like, do you know what I mean? Making a film, a Ronnie Spector biopic, that really is just about telling this. Like, this is why House of Gucci was shit.
I didn't see it. For a reason.
God.
Was it
Don't
just...
stop, you're going to make me cry.
That's
Gerrard Leto. Before he starts going da da boof and then dancing around, you go, right, I've actually had enough of this. I'd like my money back, please.
Oh God.
Yeah. I mean, there's not many more times I can say just make them interesting. That's essentially what we're asking for here. At the very base of all of this is going, don't just do the thing. Make it interesting. Exactly. Like, One Love would have been so much more interesting if the flashbacks were abstract.
Oh yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Like, it was much more like, I don't know, like just
creative.
That's just tried. Definitely, yeah, genuinely. I don't know, like I feel like Rastafarianism calling it Bob Marley's guiding philosophy would genuinely be an understatement. And they're just like, every once in a while they're just like, praise Jah, and that's it. You know. I'm genuinely being dead ass. Like, it's mentioned just in passing so much, and it's like, God, do something with it.
Well, it's also every fourth lyric. I mean, you might as well focus on
exactly.
it.
Like
clearly very
Bob Marley's
important.
music. Like,
yeah. So when I was at the Fringe this summer, I saw a play called Fuck. It wasn't called Fuck. What was it called? I think it was called Blaze FM. It was from the Big House production company, and they made a thing called Blaze FM, which is about a London pirate radio station. And I cried at the end of it when a man was dancing to a song called "Oh Bumberclart." Right now, and the lyrics of that song, by the way, are "Oh Bumberclart, oh Rasclart," right?
Brilliant.
It's fucking amazing. Yeah. But what they'd done is they'd woven all of that kind of importance into the fabric of, like, the story of why they were doing what they were doing and where they were coming from and why the radio was so important to them and all this sort of stuff. That by the end of it, a dad who had been trying his best to keep his family together and had eventually fallen apart, and this radio station was the only thing he had left, and he was about to be found by the police and probably put in jail for the rest of his life or prison for stuff that wasn't fair. They're banging on the door, and he just turns up this song and just starts dancing to it, like, you know, in the most kind of pure, unadulterated Rastafarian way. And I was just watching it being like, oh fuck, man. That's so hard. But what I didn't get with One Love was any of that. I just kind of got like, and then he made Concrete Jungle, and you go, right, okay. Yeah, sure, yeah, Could You Be Loved, all of that, yeah, honestly, wonderful. Buffalo Soldier, fabulous.
They didn't even use Buffalo Soldier.
No, they didn't use Buffalo Soldier.
That's my favourite Bob Marley song. They didn't even use it, but yeah.
I was just good for context.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a banger. mean, that's essentially it
Fair enough.
nearly 5 minutes. But my God, I was sat there being like, I am emotional.
Yeah.
So stuff like that.
That's
I could do more with.
Yeah. That's the thing. That with One Love, it was just I don't know. It felt like it was knocking on the door of doing something like that, which never getting through. Like I almost like with the stuff they did with Redemption Song, how in the flashbacks he was continually working on Redemption Song, and then that whole line where he's like, "Oh, I've been writing it all my life." You're like, "Oh, that actually kind of is true," and then you're like, "Oh wow, that's context, emotional, cultural, spiritual context for that one song." But you did it for one flipping song, and it's like Bob Marley's discography is not only one of the most loved in the world, but one of the biggest. And you had so much to work with, and I don't know, man. Redemption Song is an amazing song.
Yeah, just they could have tried a bit harder.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Well, what is interesting is I think we're kind of on the same page here.
Yeah.
And I think what will come to pass is that the standout biopics will stand out. They'll pass the test of time.
Exactly.
The standout superhero movies, they pass the test of time because they stand out.
Yeah.
But it's not just a phase, Mom, but it is a phase, Hollywood, isn't it? It is.
Yeah,
You're going to be sick of these in 5 years. I think they're going to be sick of them before the Beatles film comes out, in all honesty. I think the trend will have shifted from biopics to something else.
Yeah.
Because, in the 90s it was all about questioning reality and grunginess, and in the 2000s it was all about, sci-fi and tech and all that sort of stuff, and then 2010s it was all about superheroes. Now it's all about biopics, and you just think the films that people will remember as the most impactful for a long time are the ones which were just stories about emotion and things.
Just something original.
Yeah. In 10 years' time, am I going to remember A Complete Unknown, or am I going to remember The Banshees of Inisherin?
Banshees of Inisherin.
Yeah. Right in a heartbeat. It's not even remotely close. And I liked A Complete Unknown. I had a good time watching it.
Yeah.
Three good performances. It's not gonna sit in my memory for ages. And even if they made, God forbid, because it'll murder me, if they made a biopic about Post Malone, which would be funny because his early stuff is absolutely hysterical.
Yeah. But
it's like a terrible trap beat over him going, "What the heck?" Amazing.
Yeah.
But like no one, you can't just because somebody is interesting doesn't mean that your film will be.
No, exactly. It doesn't mean you have a right to.
Yeah.
So.
I want to make a film. What I want people to do, if they're going to do films about people, is take people that are unknown. Yeah. Let's do more Mr. Bates versus the Post Office. Let's do a true story about a person you've never heard of being incredible.
Smaller things.
Yeah. Small people are the people who need films made about them, not Bob Dylan.
No, he's had a few now as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I know. Listen, I love Springsteen, but he doesn't need a film made about him. And what I'm more excited about is, I think there's a documentary coming out as well about Springsteen, about his touring and all that sort of stuff. I'd watch that so much sooner than I watched the biopic. I'm not saying it's going to be bad, I'm just saying it's not always interesting.
Exactly, it feels like part of the PR rollout.
Yeah.
Because you know what the crazy thing is, he did his recent tour, like, I don't think it was last year, where he was up here, or in Sunderland.
Yeah, Kiva was watching it.
Yeah, I know someone who went. But yeah, it's almost feels like it's part of him just trying to essentially rejuvenate his image. Because not only that, but I've had adverts for, like, on Instagram of like some Bruce Springsteen gift package where it's like some special edition of like a vinyl of Born in the USA, and then you get like a free leather jacket with it. I'm not even joking, that is actually what it is.
It was an aggressively Yank thing.
Exactly. I was like, this can't be real. This can't be what people take from music, from anything, So all of that coupled with, again, like you said, a documentary and now a biopic, it just feels contrived. It feels like there's stuff going on behind the scenes where, like, not necessarily from Bruce Springsteen himself, but just like, this is hot right now, let's do it.
Yeah, this is on right now, let's get Bruce back in the limelight.
Exactly.
The thing I really disagree with isn't necessarily those packages, even though that is completely tasteless. It's screwed. You know, in Top Gear in Vietnam, when they have the bike that's covered in the US flag, born in the USA, it's just that. What, because this has been a relatively musical episode, have you been to any gigs this year? You must have done.
Yes. Like,
who have you seen?
So many. Sorry, that sounds like bragging. But like lots. I saw Coldplay actually.
Oh, good.
Which was
Were you having an affair?
What?
Were you having an affair?
Oh no, I wasn't.
It's a shame.
But that was like I'm not like the world's biggest Coldplay fan.
Sure.
But I was like, you know, they've been saying they're gonna quit for a long time, and I was like, might as well.
Do they play B-sides at the big gigs? Do they play whatever they're called? You know, I'll have salt and pepper and a little bit of hummus on whatever it's called. You know, those stupid B-sides that they make. Do they play them in the big gigs? No.
It was I liked the music. I liked a lot of the music. Their new stuff just they didn't hit with me at all. But Chris Martin is goddamn insufferable. He's just so namby-pamby, wishy-washy, apolitical. And you don't have to get into that stuff, but he actively chooses to in just the worst way.
Right.
And I don't know, I couldn't stand it. It genuinely... My brother went as well, had the exact same experience. He was like, had a good time. Musically, it was all right. But I just came away resenting Chris Martin.
And he opened his mouth.
Exactly. No, genuinely, that's what it felt like. It was like, please sing, just like stop speaking. We left early actually because, well, firstly, it was in Wembley. It was going to get absolutely. It was going to be insane. To get home.
Yeah.
So we left early. We missed the last two songs of the it was the new album. We'd known the set list, and I wasn't about to hang about for that. But yeah, couldn't stand him. I saw Kendrick Lamar in.
Was that this year?
July. Yes. Right. So that's the second time I've seen
him. That would have been your creme de la creme.
Oh, that was unbelievable. Yeah, not much more I can really say about that. It was a crazy year for him, for his music, and to witness that when he feels like he's at his peak in his career is incredible. Saw Tyler the Creator back to back.
Wow.
2 nights in a row, yeah. I got tickets with my friends.
That's good seats.
I see. I got tickets with my yeah. Got tickets with my mates, and then my brother got tickets for the night after. And
well, I might as well.
I was like, fuck it. But yeah, I was standing with my brother fully close to stage. Right. Incredible experience, but yeah, unreal. You saw Post Malone though.
I did. I've had a good
That's
run
your
this
creme
year.
de la creme.
It was my creme de la creme. I've had a good year for gigs. I've had 3 of my top 5 from Spotify.
That's pretty crazy.
So I had Sam Fender at St James.
Oh, I saw Sam Fender. Yeah.
Not St James. And then I had Elbow came to Tynemouth.
I saw that.
Oh my God.
I saw that. Yeah.
And I was just a weird shout out, but through local knowing and stuff, was spent the evening listening to Elbow with Carol Malia from Look North.
That's crazy.
Great.
What are the chances of that? That's wild.
And then recently went to see Bastille, and then saw Kingfisher, who I'm now wearing a t-shirt for, the other night, and they were great. I'm just amazed at how many Irish people are in Newcastle. I'm starting to do more music gigs. I'm really gutted because last night was Rizzle Kicks, and I wasn't able to go because I was working, and I was like,
that's the amount of gigs that I feel like I've missed now because it's just the shifts at work. Hopefully heading out to London in January or so.
Yeah. To
see a guy called Dijon by any chance.
Mustard.
You know the producer Mustard.
My whiteness is showing.
Mustard on the beat.
American singer. I do know who you mean.
Going down to. I'm just mentioning it because shout out Roddy.
Shout out Roddy.
Yeah. I saw Ethel Cain in.
Oh great.
Do you know of Ethel Cain?
I do know of Ethel Cain.
Yeah, that was not something I expected to be feeling, but that was crazy.
Good gig.
Very good gig.
Yeah.
Weird as fuck. But amazing. Sorry,
before we go,
can
you please give a very brief talk about the podcast that you've just done on?
Oh yeah,
because it was so fucking cool.
Oh, I'm glad you liked it. So that was part of a uni project. Actually, that was a uni assignment. Was a podcast episode as part of the module How Songs Make Money. Essentially it's about copyright law and exactly that, how songs actually make their money, how licensing works, all of this stuff. So all of this kind of your more boring rubric stuff, all kind of placed into the context of how genres were formed, how samples get used, because 90% of what we listen to these days is sample based, interpolation based, transposition based. So yeah, it's called How Songs Make Money. Run by Dr. Ellis Jones, who was my tutor, and very grateful to have had that assignment kind of published and put somewhere. So yeah,
it was really cool.
You
can listen to it on Spotify.
Absolutely, you can. How Songs Make Money.
Yeah, you can.
Exactly.
Right. Well, to be honest with you, Will, I'm glad that we're basically exactly on the same page with all this, because I was slightly worried it was going to be walking. I was going to be like, I kind of don't like them very much, and then you were going to be like, what? But no.
I thought my messages to you were fairly clear.
No, they were. I wasn't that worried. I got
Yeah.
the general tone when you were like, yeah, I want to talk about musical biopics. I was like, excuse you hate them, isn't it? And I was like, yeah. Okay. Cool. Right. Well, thank you very much for coming to do this. I was trying to think when the last one was.
It was.
And would it? It can't have been the scores.
It would. That was the last one I was on. Yeah.
So I listen back to that sometimes, and I just want to gaffer tape my own mouth shut. Shut up, you boring wanker.
What was it? The DVD movie in the end?
The DVD movie. I still know every jot and tittle of the details for the DVD movie.
Oh god.
Because it was like we realised that they only became sort of conscious when you play them, right?
Yeah.
And then I think we had something about like deleting what was on a disc and someone screaming about like, don't put me back in the box or whatever. And then Roddy said, like, if the hole is their mouth, what the hell are they doing when they put themselves in the box? Like, what is that? I've had multiple people come up to me in the street when I was at uni, go, oh, God, Dom, DVD movies. I was like, what do you mean? What are you talking about? The thing I've had, Namir told me about was when he was listening to it, and Mum, do you remember Mum brought a cake in the middle of the recording? And I, at one point, went, I'm so sorry, I can't think about anything anyone's saying because I can smell cake. I'm just going to hover towards it like a cartoon, my nose like leading the way. Yeah. So yeah, we'll get. Do you know what? Because I don't know how long Reddy's back for over Christmas.
Yeah,
but if we could find a time,
definitely
do another one.
I'd happily do another one.
Yeah,
that was a great little group dynamic there.
Cool, it was wicked.
Felt like being back in history.
Felt like being a complete prat all over again, which is the best times. Yeah, right, man. Will, thank you very much. Everyone go and listen to that podcast that Will do because it's genuinely fascinating.
It's a short episode as well.
Yeah, so. It's not going to take much of time, but also you'll learn like a lot. Like I walked out of it feeling like I was ready to like have it as my mastermind specialist subject. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's all good. Will, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I'll see you again soon. Bye.
Bye.